All right, so I have to just a PSA for my teacher. I have to record on my phone. Um, I do have everything going on my monitor. I've got OBS to record. This is I'm gonna introduce you guys, and you guys are all each just gonna wave. Um, this is Russell. Uh, you got Tate and Scotland. You got Sam, and then you got Nick and Kayla. Um, Here is the bedroom. Kind of a mess, so don't mind it. And couldn't find my wallet, so fortunately no ID. But so again, hi everyone. Let me ask you something. How cool would it be if you could just fall asleep and make sure it's recording? Um, if you could just fall asleep and wake up smarter, like imagine going to bed, pressing play on an audiobook, and waking up fluent in Spanish or suddenly understanding algebra without lifting a pencil. That's why, but that's why the idea behind sleep learning, also known as hypopadia. And let's be honest, it sounds way better than staying up all night trying to memorize stuff the hard way. I'll be real with you. I swear I learned more in some of my English classes while half asleep than I ever did wide awake. And there were days when I was completely zoned out, borderline napping, and still managed to remember the lesson better than expected. So naturally, I asked myself, is that real? Can we actually learn while we sleep? To answer that, we've got to go back a bit. The idea of sleep learning has actually been around for a long time. Way before TikTok study hacks and YouTube ASMR learning playlists. Back in the 1950s and 60s, people were really into this idea. They bought special sleep learning records that played vocabulary words, facts, even entire lectures while they slept. They were even devices called sleep learning machines. People truly believed that their brains could soak up information like sponges, even in the middle of the night. And of course, there was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. In that dystopian novel, children are taught values and beliefs through repeated messages while they sleep. The idea seemed so advanced, so futuristic, that many people started wondering if they could be a reality. And of course, scientists had looked into it, but the results had been disappointing. Turns out the brain is actually pretty selective when it's sleeping. Most early studies showed that people didn't really remember anything played to them while they were fully asleep, especially during deep sleep. The recordings just didn't register in the brain uh, a way in a way that would stick. So for a while, the whole idea of sleep learning got labeled as a myth or pseudoscience. But don't lose hope yet, because modern science has started to find some interesting twists in the story. Today, researchers know a lot more about what's actually going on in your brain during sleep, and what they've discovered is pretty amazing. When you sleep, especially during REM and deep non REM stages, your brain enters a phase called memory consolidation. Basically, your brain is going through everything you learned that day, deciding what's important and filing it away so you can remember it better later. It's like your brain is working the night shift, quietly organizing your mental filing cabinet. So even if you can't learn brand new information in your sleep, your brain is absolutely doing some behind the scenes work that helps stick. And here's where it gets cool. Recent studies have found that under the right conditions, certain kinds of information can be reinforced during sleep, especially if you learn it while you're awake. For example, researchers did an experiment where people were asked to learn foreign vocabulary words while they're sleeping. Some of those words were played quietly through speakers. The next day, the people who heard those words in their sleep actually remembered them better than those who didn't. But again, it only worked if they had studied those words before falling asleep. Other experiments use like sound cues, Use things like sound cues to reinforce physical skills, like playing a tone associated with movement. Someone practice with movement that someone had practiced earlier. The results showed that this kind of sleep cueing can actually help sharpen your memory. But, and this is important, you can't just plug in your earbuds, hit play on a podcast, and expect them to wake up with new knowledge. Your brain can't process complex, brand new information while unconscious. It's not like taking notes while you snore. Also, timing matters. If the audio is played during the wrong sleep stage, it can actually interrupt your sleep instead of helping. If the brain senses noise during deep sleep or REM sleep, it might cause a brief wake up or disrupt to the memory making process. And that's why these studies have to be super precise, especially monitoring brain waves with equipment to make sure the timing is right. So where does that leave us? Well, the learning in the sci-fi sense, it's like absorbing new lessons in your sleep. It isn't really possible, but the idea that sleep helps you learn, that's 100% real. Sleep is like the secret weapon we often ignore. Um, it boosts concentration, decision making, creativity, and long term memory. It's one of the best study tools that we have, and it doesn't cost a thing. So, back to my whole learning English in class while half asleep thing. I probably wasn't learning because I was sleeping, but the sleep I got afterwards helped lock those lessons in. Sometimes we kind of underestimate how much rest uh, actually helps and affects our brains. In fact, sleep is so crucial for learning that scientists recommend studying right before bed, not just in bed. The material is more likely to stick because your brain starts processing as you drift off. Even a short nap can boost your memory performance if it's timed correctly. So, in conclusion, can you learn while you sleep? Not the way we dream, not in the way that we dream about. You won't wake up and be fluent in French just because your phone played Duolingo audio all night. But sleep can boost your ability to learn and remember things you studied earlier. Your brain is a lot more active than you think, quietly doing the hard work of learning while you rest. So, next time you're stressing out over an exam or struggling to memorize something, maybe the smartest thing you need to do is go to bed. Thank you.